If we notice we're not responding or acting in the way that we would like to, if we're not feeling the way we want to feel about something, how do we stop that reaction? How do we change that? And this is it's another thing where it's like, it's simple, but not easy. And it really does take practice. So the first thing we have to do, like I was saying, is like through JournalSpeak, that's how we figure these things out. That's how we come to realize that we have a pattern that we're playing out that's no longer serving us. And we get to, drudge up all the feelings and process that, and then start to explore how we would prefer to feel about that situation, or what we would prefer to believe about ourselves or the world or the situation. And then in those moments where we get triggered is where we get to practice. And I think the most important thing we can do for ourselves is before even getting pushy or trying to do it different, start by noticing what's different. So for example, when people come into session with me and they tell me like, well, same old story, somebody is out there being mean to me, bullying me again, and I don't understand why I keep getting stuck in the same pattern. My question is, what was different this time? Because there's no way as we go through this process that we can always stay in the same exact place, in the same exact reaction, the same exact response. When we're doing this work, when we're looking at things more objectively, we are always changing and progressing. So we want to make sure that we're giving ourselves credit for any sliver of difference first, and then expanding on that. So if, like the example I gave earlier of like, when my sister calls me, like I, go into like tremors just by seeing her name on the phone, maybe next time I'll notice that I didn't do it right away. First I saw her name and I took a deep breath, and then I did start having some anxiety coming up. But just those little differences, or I didn't answer the phone, I was like, nope, not doing it. Notice what you're able to do differently in your response right away. And then as you're giving yourself credit for that, you grow in your strength and your ability to actively change things, to refuse to answer that call, or to answer it differently, or to change your belief. So, big, powerful practice that we can start working with is saying, when a pattern comes up, like I gave that example before from the 3 lists. My example was, because my mother left us when we were kids, I believe that relationships are just stressful. And whenever social stuff comes up, I get anxiety today. My approach to that, when I'm good and ready to start thinking about change around that, is the question is, what do I choose to believe instead? Well, I've seen examples out there of people who have relationships that are not just stressful to them. I know this is possible for a person like me. And so I choose to believe that relationships are healing, and they have the power to be, good, feel good, and bring goodness to me, not just drain me of everything. And when we get those new beliefs kind of highlighted, kind of narrowed down, then we can also bring those into the present moment. When something's triggering me, when that phone rings and my sister pops up and I normally would respond with anxiety, I can say to myself, okay, this is because of old stuff. I'm feeling triggered about old stuff, about relationships being stressful. And my expectation is that she's going to unload a world of, worry on me or something. But I choose to believe that my relationships can be healing and good and connective and fulfilling. And so I'm either going to not engage with this because it's not going to be fulfilling for me right now, and I'm not in a place to handle it or set a boundary or whatever. Or I'm going to answer this phone call I'm going to center myself, and I'm going to calm down a little bit and move breathe and just move myself into a different state, and trust that whatever is coming through is an opportunity for me to connect with this person and to be fulfilled and give fulfillment. And I'm going to practice with that. And it's so important that we stay open and that we know that it's a practice, because the first time you pick up, that call from that person, it may not be a deeply fulfilling and healing relationship experience, but you want to start to notice the way you feel going into it and how you can manage your beliefs and your thought process and your behaviors. And you will see change start to happen in a lot of these situations, but it's incremental, and we've got to be willing to celebrate every little, pinch of progress that we make along the way.